Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. And today we're going to talk about DC to DC converters. Now, as you know from your basic electronics, transformers only work on AC. So if you want to step from 12 volts AC to 6 volts AC, you just use a transformer. Okay, that's the way they work. It's interesting to note that aircraft often supply the whole aircraft with 24 volt or 28 volt AC at 400 hertz. This is why when you go onto an aircraft, you hear this pitch. It's a little between middle C and A above middle C. It's just there. It's part of the background noise. Just like 60 hertz is the background noise of civilization. Now, the reason they do that is because transformers at 400 hertz can be much smaller than transformers at 60 hertz, and yet handle the same amount of power. Now, why can't we do that with DC? Can we step up and down DC voltages? The answer is yes, but it's a little more complicated. What we have to do is convert the voltage to AC at a high frequency. And they usually run around 50 kilohertz, okay? You're switching it to AC at that high frequency. Then you use a very small transformer to change it to the voltage you want, and then you put full wave rectifier in there and some filtering, and you get a nice DC out. This is called a DC to DC converter. Now, there are two types, fundamentally. The buck converter takes a DC voltage and reduces it. It sort of bucks against the voltage. A boost converter does just what it sounds like. It'll convert 6 volts to 24 volts or something like that. Now, if you look at this screen right here on Amazon, there's just a gazillion of them available, and you can go either way with them, and there's just all kinds of them. Now, the reason I show you this is because right here is this one. This is the input, 12 volts. I put that cord on there. The output is different colors, 9 volts. I put on one of these because I don't have any of these with the different colors. I should get some. There's an Englishman, lives in Turkey, who puts out little radio kits under the moniker QRP Labs. And one of his recent radios, he wanted it 12 volts only. Well, ham radio 12 volts isn't 12 volts. It's more like 13.5 or even higher, okay? And for some reason, he made the radio so you could only put 12 volts into it, or he had an option where you could do it with 9 volts. So I got this right here. I built the 9 volt one, built it for 9 volts. It's just a change of one part. And this is how I power the thing. And it does successfully power it. So I can use a battery here, lithium-ion battery, which is actually about 13.1. Notice this will take as input 12 to 24. Okay, so 13.1. And what comes out is 9 volts at 4 amps max, which is 36 watts, which is way more than a QRP radio needs. Now, so the ones that reduce the voltage are buck. The ones that increase the voltage are boost converters. Now, can you have an adjustable one of these where you have, say, a 12 volt input and you can vary the output, say, from 6 volts to 24? That's called, are you ready for this? This is how imaginative engineers are. They call it a buck boost converter. It will do either one. Now, if you look in the ARRL handbook, there are schematics for these things. I would not recommend building one of your own. Coils in there have to be just right. But I would recommend that you just buy them. They're so doggone cheap. It seems $10, okay? And I solved my problem with that. Now, for example, a lot of devices these days like 5 volts. The little power supply that you plug into the wall, and then you plug in your USB cord, will give 5 volts to charge whatever device you're using. Have you ever noticed there are no 5 volt batteries of any size? For example, this one right here, okay, I tested this. It says 12.8 volts. It's not. It's lithium ion. It's more like 13.4. Okay, so it'll give you 13.4 out. There are no equivalent batteries that put out 5 volts. So you have to put a converter between it. In this case, a buck converter. You can get them to get it down to 5 volts, and then you can use that to power the chargers in your equipment and so on. By the way, when they say 5 volts, they mean 5 volts, not 6, 5. Not 5.5, but 5. A lot of the handhelds take 5 volts rather than the old 12. Even though the power supplies that are built for our shacks are all nominally 12, this radio right here will take from like 12 to 15 volts. That radio up there in the corner, the Yaesu on the far right, will not take 12 volts. It's 13.8 volts plus or minus 10%, which does not get you down to 12 volts, which can create issues if you are trying to feed that with a lead acid battery. Now, your lithium ion batteries run about 13.4 volts output if they're rested, a little bit more if they just come off the charge, and those will power that radio just fine. Okay, so voltage, 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 all these different voltages. But the thing is that you can convert from one to the other. Don't ever feed in power on the output because it will blow the thing out, okay? And this one will handle up to 4 amps, 36 watts at 9 volts. That's plenty for that little QRP transceiver. Now, ideally, I should have gotten yellow and blue power pole connectors, and I should have put those on the radio too, so that I would know match color to color, okay? But in any event, there you go. Now, if you would like something addressed, send an email to askdave, all one word, at arrl.org, not .net, .org. And that will come to me directly, and I'll either answer it directly or save it up for an Ask Dave column or answer it in one of these videos if I can. So there you have it. Until we next meet, 73.